Hello, my name is Diego from the Hit Music Studio, and in this video, I would like to help you play the song Sigue by Ed Sheeran and J Balvin. So let's go to the close-up again, and I can give you some tips so you can practice this. And let me tell you that I technically show people how to play the chords and the piano parts, not necessarily what the singer is singing, because I don't really find value of that. And these videos are done to help our students here in South Florida learn how to play these songs in the context of playing with the band. So first up, we have technically 4 chords. It's going to be a B minor, then a D major, then a G major, and an A major. And the way that he is playing this is a little bit using inversions. So I will try to show you first the right hand, and it's going to be a pattern in which the notes are fairly short. I'm using almost like a steel vibes type of sound combined, I think, with an electric piano to get something closer to it. I don't think it's a piano sound in the recording, so I'm trying to almost, I guess, emulate it a little bit. So 2 chords there at the first bar, and then it moves a little bit to do F sharp, A, and D. One thing with this is, like, I would suggest using these fingers 1, 2, and 5, and then using 1, 2, and 5 again. Now the next one, you can probably do it with 1, 3, and 5. It will be D, G, and B. And then we're gonna move a little bit to the left to do C sharp, E, and A. And I would consider practicing maybe just 2 of them in a row and switching. If that gets good, maybe add the other 2. Now, it's very important to keep this very evenly when you practice it. So I have a little, I guess, metronome beat, like some kind of like of a beat here. So I can almost slow down and just do the right hand. Now, one thing that I do try to recommend to all of my students is don't change the numbers. Like, if you're trying to choose one chord to be 1, 2, and 5, and remember that the fingers are 1 is the thumb and pinky will be 5, don't change every time that you do it. So if you're going to do this 4 times as it is in the beginning, you don't want to be changing it up sometimes. And then sometimes I do 1, 2, and 5. Sometimes 1, 3, and 5 for the same chord. I think that can be very confusing for your mind. So on the left hand, as I played it there at the beginning, B and F sharp with fingers 5 and 1. They keep your hand there to do 3 and 1. To do D and F sharp. Move a little bit to the left and do G and D. And then do A and E by moving. Now, I would say this needs to be stitched very slowly. Try to do it in a way that is very symmetrical and steady. So this reminds me of other Ed Sheeran songs that sound very similar. I think it's not super complicated pattern. Just make sure that when you play it as many times as the song. I think it's 3 times for that first beginning until, like, you get to the verse. Now the verse is when the singer says, "Yo quiero darte tu regalo," and that would happen with this pattern, which I think is actually a cool pattern. So on the right hand, we're gonna do A, F sharp, D. Then G, F sharp, E. And I would suggest trying to keep your fingers probably the 1 on a C sharp so you can reach it, because we're going to be playing. So you can do maybe finger 2 and finger 4 on the F sharp. So the pattern goes then G, F sharp, E, followed by D, F sharp, and then C sharp, E. And the pattern is not super complicated when you play it there with a beat. Important to keep in mind that it doesn't start on 1. So 1. The left hand is pretty much the same as the beginning, so nothing to it, only that it doesn't really play together. So you go left, 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 left. And with that, I would say that's the second pattern. That's what I consider, I guess, the beginning of the verse. Also not super complicated. In this video, I'm going to cover the 3 main patterns that the song has, and it keeps repeating them over and over in different parts. So it's up to you, I guess, to maybe figure out which part is which. The next part is almost a variation. And I think it's important when you're learning how to play chords, if you're trying to maybe produce music, it's very cool to see how Ed Sheeran is changing things up a little bit, because you don't want 3 minutes and a half or 2 minutes and 45 seconds of the same thing. It's very boring. So he's technically chords, like doing the same chords, but changing them up a little bit in inversions, a little detail here and there, a couple of little patterns. Sounds cool, sounds awesome, sounds different, keeps the, I guess, listener a little bit engaged. Let me show you the third and last chord, and that's I guess the last pattern. Now this one is almost a little bit of a zigzag between the hands, because I'm gonna do So I'm going to do 2 notes with my left and immediately followed by a chord. and I do another note with the left. So it's almost like a little bit of what I call a zigzag. In this case, the notes of the right hand, D, F sharp, A, which you can do with 1, 3, and 5. Move a little bit to the right to do F sharp, A, and D. Then we're gonna play F sharp, B, and D. And lastly, move a little bit to the left to do E, A, and C sharp. Now the notes on the left are still the same 4 notes, B, D, G, and A. And you're gonna do that pattern. I recommend this pattern to do it very slowly. So and of course you can put a beat on that. After that, the pattern goes back to the first one that I showed you, which is almost like what I consider the chorus. I think the song starts with the chorus and then the chorus kicks back in later in the song. But with that and with those patterns, I think you hopefully should be successful at playing this. A couple of tips on this one: make sure that the notes are short. This is almost like a reggaeton influence beat, so the patterns are done shortly. It's almost like you want the release of the notes when you let it go to be short, makes it a little bit more punchy, which is in other styles doesn't really apply, but for this one I think it really works. So hopefully with those little tips you can be successful. Always remember to play with the song, so do the song, play with the song slowly, slow it down on the actual video, and try to make sure that not only you get the notes right, but you get the vibe of the song. And lastly, let me mention that sometimes we change things up a little bit here and there just to make sure that our students, which are sometimes starting in their journey in music, are able to play something like this. If you would like a little bit more information about what we do here at The Hit, check our main website, thehitmusicstudio.com. We'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching.